Good morning. Good morning. Am I audible? එනවද කතා කරන එක?
Oh, sir, I know.
Okay. Let's start. Today plan is we will complete balance part of internal control and we will do some questions in business process, and if time permits, we will do internal control also. But definitely we will do business process internal controls. Remaining 4 questions in first tute and second tute also. Second tute questions also we will do today. Okay, this is our plan. Today's plan. So directly we will move on to internal control remaining parts. Can you see this tube? I hope you can see this one. Last class, up to last class, we discussed up to general controls, general IT controls. So before continuing the balance part of internal control, I want to revise inherent limitation of internal control again. So with that, we will start today's session. So I want to revise the internal control again. Internal control limitations, inherent limitations again. So with that, we will start today's session. I want to give more explanation about inherent limitations of internal control. So if you don't understand, just let me know. And one more thing, in the group, in the WhatsApp group, I have sent in WhatsApp group. I have sent. If you didn't understand any topics up to now, what we have discussed, you can ask in the group or individual message. Through individual message also you can ask, so I can revise those section again. So because problem is we can't do the revision, entire syllabus revision at last moment. So then and there, if you ask any specific, if you ask any questions, or if you want to redo the specific question, specific area again, really you can communicate through the WhatsApp in the group or through individual messages. So I can try to redo those sections again. So we will start the internal limitations of internal control discussion again. Let's take an example. You are an internal auditor of the company. Let's say ABC Private Limited. So you are an internal auditor of ABC Private Limited. Your responsibility is you have to review you have to monitor the effectiveness of internal controls implemented in the specific organization, ABC Private Limited. Let's say, let's take an example. In that organization, in that ABC Private Limited, they have only 10 processes. Let's assume like that. They have, in normal scenario, in practical scenario, organizations have more than 10 processors. We can't limit 10 or 20. Small processors, big processors, complex processors, simple processors. Likewise, they have a lot of business processors. But in this case, in this example, let's we take this particular organization called ABC Private Limited has only 10 processors. Remember, I'm not saying 10 internal controls, 10 internal controls are there, 10 processors are there. Okay, 10 processors are there, which means certain controls are there in the organization, in these processors, but those are not effective controls. Let's assume 10 business processes are there in the particular organization called ABC Private Limited. You are an internal auditor. You have been asked to provide a report about effectiveness of internal control of that particular organization. Clear? This is the scenario. Let's say, what are those 10 processes? Sales process, purchase, inventory, receipt, payment, payroll, PP addition, uh, envelope purchase process, and step in purchase process. What else? What other process? Bank reconciliation process. Likewise, 10 processes are there in the organization. So my question, ABC Private Limited has 10 processes, including two small processes called step in purchase and consumption, step in consumption and envelope consumption. Okay, including those two simple processes, that particular company has 10 processes. Now, you have been asked to provide a report about effectiveness of internal control. This is the situation. My question, can you give absolute assurance on internal control of that particular organization? Can you give absolute assurance? What is meant by absolute assurance? You are going to say this company's internal control effectiveness is 100% good. Okay, this company internal control effectiveness is 100% good. That's a 100% correct assurance you are giving, which is called absolute assurance. Scenario is that company has 10 processors. So you have been asked to provide a report about those processes, internal controls. So now, can you give 100% assurance, which means absolute assurance? This company's internal control effectiveness is perfectly good, perfectly correct. That type of assurance can you give or not? That's the question. Answer is, you cannot provide such assurance, such type of assurance. Clear? You cannot provide such type of assurance. You cannot provide absolute assurance. That's answer is no. Why no? The reasons are given below. We have 5 reasons, 5 main reasons. Why we can't provide absolute assurance? Why we can't say 100% internal controls of this organization is 100% correct, 100% effectively working? Why we cannot say like that? Reasons are given below. We have 5 reasons. Let's take one by one. 10 processes are there. Out of that 10 processes, you can't, out of that 10 processes, two processes. What are those two processes? Step in consumption and envelope consumption. Those are two processes. That particular company, ABC Private Limited, has not implemented any controls in those two processes. Why they have not implemented any controls in those processes? Because implementing control cost, sorry, control cost, internal controls. In order to place controls, they should incur cost. In order to place controls, they should incur cost. That company thinks incurring cost and placing controls, won't give more benefits than cost what they are going to incur. Clear? 10 processes are there. Out of that 10 processes, two processes we have identified in envelope consumption and step in consumption. Those are small processes. For those small processes, that company has not implemented any controls. Why they have not implemented? Because they thought by incurring cost and implementing internal control for those processes will not give benefits than cost. Clear? So no point to implement internal controls by incurring cost, because benefits, internal control benefits will not be greater than cost what we are going to incur. So no point to implement controls for those processes. So out of 10, two processes are gone. Out of 10, two processes are out. Why? Out of 10, two processes, they have not implemented internal controls. So now, can you provide absolute assurance on internal controls of that particular organization? Can you say all entire 10 processes have proper internal controls? You can't give. Clear? So now you can't give absolute assurance because of this cost versus benefit. Cost is higher than benefit. That is one reason. Understood? Clear? If you clear, just tell me in the WhatsApp also. At least even WhatsApp. නැත්තම් කියන්න. මට understand කරන්න බෑ මේක තේරුණාද නැද්ද කියලා. ක්ලාස් එකේ නම් මූණ බලලා ආන්න පුළුවන්. Just let me 1 or 2%, just let me know through the WhatsApp even. Second one. So now, out of based on this example, I have explained cost versus benefit. How cost versus benefit is one of the reasons. Sorry, why cost versus benefit is one of the reason for why we can't give absolute assurance. So now, out of 10 processes, two processes have been out. Company has not implemented internal controls for those simple processes. So now they have implemented internal controls only 8 processes. Other than envelope consumption and step in consumption, they have implemented internal controls, strong internal control. Let's say strong internal controls they have implemented for other processes. What are those other processes? What are the other processes? Sales, purchase, inventory, PP, bank reconciliation, receipts, payment. Likewise, 8 processes are there. Payroll, likewise, 8 processes are there. They have implemented proper controls, strong controls in those areas. Now, how human error is one of the reason for one of the inherent limitation. How human error works one of the inherent limitation. one of the inherent limitations. Now we will see that part. That part. So out of 10 processes, 2 processes out. So remaining 8 processes, they have implemented strong internal control. So now, even let's assume that company has only 8 controls, 8 processes. Now forget about cost versus benefit. That company has only 8 processes. Okay, only 8 processes. Entire 8 processes are having strong internal control. This is the scenario. Now forget about this envelope consumption and step level consumption. Okay, that is how I have taken those processes to explain the cost versus benefit. Now let's assume that company has only 8 processes. Now they have implemented strong controls in those 8 processes. Now you have been asked to provide absolute assurance, which means those 8 processes you have to give. Yes, company has implemented strong internal control. Company's effectiveness of internal control is 100% correct. Can you give that type of assurance or not? Here also answer is no. Why? Even though proper strong internal controls implemented, even though proper strong internal controls are implemented in those 8 processes, by nature, humans can make mistakes. Last class also I explained why you can't get 100 marks in your examination. Why you can't get 100 marks in your examination? By nature, by default, that is human nature. Okay. Without our concern, without our knowledge, we may make some mistakes. That's the human nature. We are not robot. Okay. Anywhere you can't say 100% correct. Let's say I will come and ask you about your best friend. Okay, I will come and ask you about your best friend character. So can you give that best? Can you give? Can you state about your best friend when you are saying about your best friends? Can you state that person won't do any mistakes in his work? Can you give a statement like this? Can you that person, your best friend, cannot make any mistakes in his work? I'm asking about his work quality, his work experience to recruit. Just I'm asking to recruit to my office, my company. I want to know about his work quality, work experience. So can you give a statement like this? That person, that best friend of you cannot make any mistakes in his work. You can't give that type of statement because human nature is like that. We may we may make some mistakes in our work, day-to-day life also. So even though proper controls are implemented in that 8 processes, still all humans are involved. No, humans are involved in that processes. Even though automated controls are there, that also must be operated by those inputs must be given by the humans. No, so human involvement also should be there. Certain extent, human involves are there. Human involvements are there. Okay, so then out of that 8 processes also, if even though they implemented proper internal controls, let's say, let's take an example, sales process. Let's take one of the 8 processes. Let's take a sales process. During the month, there are 30 sales processes taken place. Okay, during the month, 30 sales processes have been taken place. So out of that 30 sales processes, let's take in one sales process, they have 6 controls. In one sales process, they have 6 controls. So out of 30 processes altogether, 30 into 6, 180 times controls are worked. Controls have been worked 180 times. Can you say all these 180 times, all the controls are worked properly. At least one or two times, one or two controls might be missed. Okay, might be went wrong, might be gone wrong. Okay, so because of human errors, because of that, we can't say as an internal auditor, you can't say all internal controls are effectively worked in this internal control 100 in this organization 100 percentage 100 percentage. Likewise, you can't provide an assurance. In our example, 30 sales transactions have been taken place particular month. If you take 6 internal controls are available in the sales process, 30 into 6, 180 times these internal controls have been worked in this during the month. So out of this 180 times, at least one or two times, some one or two times, one or two certain internal controls might have gone wrong. Okay, that is usual. That is casual thing. We can't say that is wrong. 100 percentage they should comply the internal controls. We can't say like that because that's the nature. So now you can't say the organization's internal controls are effectively working, which means you can't say 100 percentage of internal controls of the organization effectively working. Okay, 100 percentage of internal controls of the organizations effectively working. That type of statement you cannot provide. So why we can't provide absolute assurance? Human errors also one of the reason. Third one, same example I will take. There are 8 processors and all 8 processors are having proper internal controls. Now let's take the same example what we have taken for human error. Same example, sales process. Sales process contains 6 controls. So 6 persons are involving in that control process. So let's say segregation duties also there. Okay, segregation of duties control also properly implemented. Because of that only 6 people are involving in this sales process. Clear? 6 people are involving. So there is a chance. I'm not saying 100% this will be happen, but there is a chance all these 6 people together and make some mistakes or make a fraud activity. There's a chance. That's a chance. You can't say no. You can't say all these 6 people are genuine people. Uh, they are very loyal to the company. They can't do any fraud activities. Likewise, you can't tell. Segregation of duties. That control you can make more strength. That you can make. Instead of 6 people, if you increase the people there, additional 3 or 2 people, then segregation of duties control will get more strength. Okay, will get more strength. But there are also, you can't give assurance, you can't give 100% assurance. Whoever involved in that process, they won't do any fraud. If you increase the number of people in the process, which means if you strengthen the segregation of duties internal control, you can reduce the fraud activities. But there is a possible all these 8 people or all these 6 people together and they may do any fraud activities. That that's a chance. That's at least 1% chance. So you can't give 100% assurance on internal controls. There is at least 0.1% chance. Clear? That is called collusion. Okay, that is called collusion. There is a chance, at least 0.1% chance is there that collusion can be happen. Clear? So even because of that 0.1 percentage chance, you can't give 100% assurance. Clear? So that's why we are not giving 100% assurance. Instead of 100% assurance, we are giving reasonable assurance. What's the fourth reason? Management override. I have explained last week also. Strong controls are there. 8 processes are having strong controls in the organization. So certain scenario, certain cases, management, management is in a situation to override the controls in a good faith. That override controls, I'm not saying this management override the controls. If management overrides the control, I'm not saying that is in a fraud activity or any other illegal activity. Okay, it doesn't mean like that. So here, management override control means management sometimes they may override the internal controls of the organization in a good faith. What is mean by good faith? Let's say last week also I have explained. In certain cases, the first three reasons are clear or not? Human error, collusion, and cost plus benefit. So now we are discussing about management override, fourth reason. So I hope first three reasons are clear. Third reason, because of certain good reasons, management is compelled to override the control because of certain good reasons in a good faith. Okay, keep this point in your mind. Because of certain good reasons or in a good faith, management is compelled to override the company's control. If management does not override the controls in that situation, company may lose huge benefits. Because of that, management thinks we can override the controls. For example, last class also I have given, if you take a purchase process, company should make purchases from its approved supplier list. From the supplier who is already approved by the organization. In simple term, some supplier who is available in the approved supplier list. Okay. So this is the control. Company cannot purchase goods from supplier who is not available in the supplier list. This is the control. This is a strong, good control. So day after tomorrow, today is Sunday, day after tomorrow, company should, this is the situation. Day after tomorrow, company should deliver the goods to its customer. Its key customer has ordered 100 units. Let's say 100 units of t-shirts or something. It's a textile company, 100 units of t-shirt. So his best customer, good customer has ordered 100 units of t-shirt I need by day after tomorrow. Okay. So now company should fulfill its customers requirement. Otherwise, company will lose its best customer. Okay. So this is the scenario. So now that the company has asked raw material from its one of the approved supplier. Okay. The company has asked raw material from to give 100 units of t-shirt to its customer day after tomorrow. This company has asked raw material from its supplier, one of the approved suppliers. Company has asked raw materials from one of its approved suppliers. That supplier said, no, I can't give today itself. In order to provide the t-shirt day after tomorrow, today itself, company should start to manufacture. That's the scenario. That's the case. So now it's one of the approved suppliers said, no, I can't provide now. I need time. So company approach another supplier in the list. He also said, no, I can't. Likewise, let's say that company has 5 approved suppliers in the list. So they have asked all 5 suppliers, and all 5 suppliers have given the same answer. They cannot provide. Now, in a good faith, if company, if company, if company does not purchase this raw materials from any suppliers outside the approved list, what will happen? This company may lose order, and it may lose its best customer also. This is the risk. This is the risk currently facing by that company. Okay. So at the same time, the right process is company should pick one supplier from outside, from approved list, and that supplier must be registered. That supplier must be approved by the directors or authorized person, which means that particular supplier should be taken into the approved list. Then only that company can purchase from him. This is the normal process. This is the process must be followed by the company. Clear? If approved suppliers are unable to provide raw materials, then company can pick another supplier, and that supplier must be registered, and that supplier must be approved by the authorized person in the company. Then that supplier can be taken into the approved list. After that, company can purchase from him. But to perform this process, this approval process, it may take some time. Okay, it may take some time. So after performing this approval process, and after that, if company purchase from that supplier, it may take some time, and you can't provide your output to your customer. Only 2 days you have. So in a good faith, by keeping that in the mind, company what will management has done, management purchase raw material from the supplier who is not approved by the organization authorized person, which means supplier who is not available in the approved list. In order to fulfill its quick order, company has purchased, management has purchased raw material from the supplier who is not approved, who is not available in the approved list. Clear? So this is a good faith, no? මේක මොකුත් වැරද්දක් කරලා නැහනේ. මොනවාරි හාමයක් තියනවද කම්පැනි එකට? මේක කරා කියලා නෑ. benefit තමයි එන්නේ. So in order to protect the customer, in order to protect the order, in order to give more value addition to the company, management has done this job. Okay, management has done this job. They have purchased the raw materials from its purchase the raw material from the supplier who is not approved, who is not available in the approved supplier list. So this is called management override. Management has not complied the controls. Management has not complied the controls. But why they have not complied? Because they want to protect the order. In a good faith, they have not complied the internal controls. So this type of situations also can be happen in the organization. Because of that only, this is the one of the reasons of inherent limitation. So if this type of situations are happen in the organization, so internal auditors cannot provide absolute assurance. One or two situations can be happen. Not only suppliers case, other cases also like that. Okay. In order to protect the customers in a good faith, management may override the internal controls placed in the organization. So those override process, we can't say override actions, we can't say that's a wrong. Even though if we say, if you see as outside the party, they have not complied the internal controls. Okay, that is a non-compliance. But but that non-compliance is happen because of companies' profit. In order to maximize the profit or companies' other benefits, in order to protect the benefits, in order to protect the benefits of the company only, this non-compliance has been happened. Clear? So management sometimes they may override in a good faith to protect the benefits of the company. In certain situations, this also can be happen. So because of that, internal auditor or whoever review the controls of the organization cannot provide absolute assurance. Last one is simple thing. I have given in my example, beginning of the session, I have given the example. The particular company has 10 processes, including small processes. So here I have told 10 processes. What are those 10 processes? Purchase, sales, inventory, payroll, PP, bank reconciliation, payments, receipts, stapler consumption, settlement consumption, and envelope consumption. I have given 10 processes. These are the routine processes, and they have implemented controls in 8 processes. They have ignored 2 small processes because those 2 small processes will not give benefits than a cost. So they have ignored and only they have 8 processes. So you can see one thing, these all 8 processes are related to routine transaction, not non-routine transaction. Purchase routine, PP additions routine. On the other hand, bank reconciliation routine, payments routine, receipts routine, sales routine, inventory control routine, payroll transaction also routine. So you can see one thing, all these transactions are routine transactions. So disposal of asset, non-routine transaction. So they have not implemented any controls in non-routine transaction. So non-routine transactions නෑ කියලා non-routine transactions එකට internal control නෑ කියලා non-routine transactions වෙන්නේ නෑ කියලා කියන්න පුළුවන් company එක. For example, I will modify my example further. Earlier we have taken 10 processes are there. Okay, with that only I have explained this whole cost versus benefit and human errors, collusion, those things. Let's modify that example. Instead of 10, they have 11 processes. For better understanding, I will modify the example. Let's say 11. Let's say 11 processes. They have processes. They have processes, 11 processes in the organization. Already I have explained the 10 processes, including that, let's say 11th process is non-routine transaction. Okay, 11 process is non-routine transaction. Don't misunderstand one thing. I don't know whether this point has come to your mind or not. හරිනම් ඒක ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්න ඕනේ. In the beginning of the class, the session, this when I was starting the business process, I told business processes are equal to internal controls. Okay, just one thing keep in your mind. Whatever activities involved in the business process, those are internal controls. Okay, you can prove that also. If we take sales, sales order, receiving sales order, generating dispatch notes, generating invoices, get signature from customer, that is also control. These are the activities involved. So these activities are internal controls. So here, stapler process or stapler pin consumption process or envelope consumption or non-routine transaction, there are processes. Okay, There are process involved. Okay, some controls are there, but here, as an internal auditor, you should provide absolute assurance whether those controls are effective or not. Clear? You should give all the controls placed, because process itself controls are there. Don't misunderstand. Make clear නැත්නම් ආයි කරන්න. Process itself controls are there. Okay, but we should focus whether those controls are effective or not. Mute your mic. I don't know who is shouting. Don't misunderstand. Processes itself have controls. Okay, here we should focus whether those controls are effective or not. As an internal auditor, as a reviewer of internal control, we should focus, we should consider whether those controls are effective. Clear? So what is meant by cost versus benefit? In the envelope consumption and in the developing consumption, there are some process. Okay, through that process, by nature itself, some controls are there. So if company wants to convert those controls into effective, they should incur the cost. Okay, they have to put some additional controls to make it effective. So that part they won't do. Why? If they want to put additional effort, they should, if they want to become those normal controls, if they want to convert those normal controls into effective controls, they should incur some cost. Okay, they should incur some effort. So those effort and those costs are not worth, because those costs are higher than the benefit what they are getting from those controls. So that's why they will not put additional controls. Clear? So process itself, it has some controls. Inherently those controls are there. Okay, දැන් මොනවරි process එකක් ගත්තොත් ඒ process එකෙන් controls තියෙනවා. Okay, මොනවරි control එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒක effective විදියට convert කරන එක තමයි additional controls දාන්න ඕනේ. Clear? For example, මේ clearද මේක? Understand the නැද්ද? Just send me through a message. Because don't misunderstand, මොනවරි ඕගොල්ලෝ process එකක් ගත්තොත් ඒකෙන් ඒ process එකෙම controls එකක් තියෙනවා. For example, මම මේක තවත් elaborate කරන්නම්. දැන් අපි ගමු let's take a receipt process. Okay, let's take a, or else let's take a payment process of a normal company, normal retailer shop. Okay, or let's take a payment process of one textile shop. Okay, textile located in Vellavatta or Bambalapiti. Let's take a small textile shop. In that textile shop, in the payment process, let's say, for example, say supplier payment. One person, normally that owner of the company, one person, that person has received the invoice. That person only prepare the payment voucher, and that person only prepare the and approve the payment. Okay, the same person prepare payment voucher, same person approves the payment voucher. So මෙතන අපිට control නැහැ කියලා කියන්න බෑනේ. We can't say here controls are not available. Why? Before making the payment, that person has received the invoice. That person has prepared the payment voucher. Why he is preparing the payment voucher? That's preparation of payment voucher itself, that's a control. But the same person approves also. So now whether we have to check, controls are there. So itself by nature that is there. The make a may approve කරන්න නැතුව මේ payment process මේ payment voucher create කරන්න නැතුව මේ payment එකක් කරන්න බෑනේ. So ඒක payment process එකේම inherently by nature තියෙන එකක්. So that is also control. So in order to convert those controls into effective controls, what he should do? He has to appoint another person. That person must approve. That person must check the invoice and payment vouchers numbers or payment voucher amounts are correct or matched or not. So those type of things must be done. Then only if he makes any mistakes, that mistakes can be captured. Since one person is involved there, the same person has prepared the payment voucher and the same person has approved the payment voucher means he may he may do any mistakes. And those mistakes also cannot be captured because segregation of duties is not there. Clear? So certain processes itself controls are there. So what is our responsibility as internal auditor? Whether those controls are effective or not. Okay, effectiveness checking. Our monitoring review checking api discuss karani. One of the elements of control, internal control of discuss karani ke mono the QA. We have to review the internal controls. We have to monitor the internal controls at regular interval. Why we should review and monitor? Whether those internal controls are effectively working. Clear? So here, internal controls itself, processes itself, those processes have some internal controls. The point is whether those internal controls are effectively working or not. Okay, whether those internal controls are effectively working in the organization or not. If effectively work, we can give 100% assurance. But unfortunately, we cannot give 100% because of these four reasons. Cost versus benefit. Because if 10 processes are there, out of that 10 processes, small 2 processes are there, even though those 2 small processes itself have small controls, without putting any effort by company itself has certain controls. That small process also itself has certain controls. So those controls are not effective. So then we can't give absolute assurance. And even though controls are there, humans are involved. Humans are involved in those controls. So humans can make mistakes. Clear? Collusion can be happen. At the same time, management override also can be happen. So because of these four reasons, I will come to fifth reason next. Because of these four reasons, we cannot give 100% assurance, which means absolute assurance. Fifth reason, non-routine transaction. Non-routine transaction means, in our example, I have taken 11 transactions. Already I have taken 10 transactions and 11 transactions. 11th transaction is PP disposal. So PP disposal is not a routine transaction. It's a non-routine transaction. And they have not implemented any controls. That PP disposal itself has some controls. I'm not saying no any controls, but in order to make those in order to make effective control, normally companies do not put any effort because that's a non-routine transaction, not a routine transaction. Generally, effective generally companies put effort to implement controls for routine transaction. Okay, routine transaction because frequency is high. Non-routine transactions frequency is very low because PP disposals are happen in the scrap value. Scrap value is not material to the company. Clear? But certain scenario, but certain cases, PP disposal also can have high value transaction. PP disposal also can have high value transaction. In such scenario, if company does not have proper internal controls, if company does not put proper internal control, effective internal control in that process, company may lose benefits which are coming from PP disposal. What are the benefits? Correctly, that amount must be recorded. After selling the assets, that asset disposal should be correctly recorded in the books. If controls are effectively worked only, this recording parts also will be worked properly. If controls are not there, sometimes whoever involved in this process, he may involve in the fraud. Okay. Sometimes because of non-availability of effective process in the PP disposal, sometimes they may not be correct price for the PP disposal, PP value, their property or their assets. If they have implement, if they implement, mute your mic. So if controls are not properly implemented in the non-routine transactions, sometimes recording part of this PP disposal, I have taken a PP disposal as a non-routine transaction. So recording part of this PP disposal might not be recorded properly in the books because of this non-availability of controls. On the other hand, because of absence of this proper internal control, sometimes organization may not pick correct price for their assets. That is also disadvantage. That is also one of the disadvantages to the organization. So these are the 5 main reasons why we cannot provide absolute assurance. Just let me know, have you understood properly this inner? Just drop me the message. So if you want to clarify, if you want more clarification, if you want to more clarification about certain areas, you just tell me. If time permits, I can take balance classes or in bank classes also. So whatever up to now we have studied, if you want more clarification in any topics, not only internal control, other business process also. So if time permits, I will take specific time and I will explain again. So whether understood internal limitations of internal control properly understood, or just let me know in the WhatsApp group or what in the personal WhatsApp. So we have started to discuss about general controls and IT application controls last class. So we have discussed general controls. What is meant by general controls? Controls, those are applicable for entire business, entire company, entire organization, or entire business process of the organization. We can't specifically link to one specific process. Those controls are applicable to entire process of the organization. I have given example relating to your mobile phone. In order to unlock your mobile phone, you use pattern, fingerprint, or number. So that password control, we can say general control for your when it comes to your mobile phone concept. Okay, your mobile phone has different apps. Once you unlock your mobile phone has different apps called WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, online banking, Messenger. Likewise, you have different apps. If you specifically put password and username for those apps, individually for those apps, those controls called application controls. For example, if you have put separate password and username for your mobile banking, that password and username is applicable only for that mobile online banking. That username password you cannot use for your Facebook. Okay. So likewise, if you put specific controls for specific application, those controls called application controls. If you put entire uh, mobile phone, that is general control. This example is related to your mobile phone. Likewise, organizations also, if organization has implemented uh, controls for entire organization, okay, entire organization business processes, then those controls called general controls, not only applicable to specific business process. Those controls are related to entire business process and entire organization. What are those type of controls? Windows updating, Windows updation, password for laptops and desktops, disaster recovery plan, backup recovery. So likewise, virus virus guard installation, firewall installation. So firewall installation or virus guard installation, these things will be applicable to entire business process of the organization. It is not only for sales, it is not only for purchase, it is not only for inventory. It will be applicable to sales, purchase, inventory, salary, PP, payment, receipts. Likewise, those firewall implementation, antivirus guard implementation, software updation, backup recovery. So these type of internal controls are applicable to entire process of the organization. Okay, so those controls called general controls. So with that, we have stopped last class. One point I want to emphasize here, I have highlighted in blue color also. As application controls may be useless, then general controls are ineffective. You have two types of controls, general and application controls. If you don't have general controls, and application controls also will be useless. First of all, companies must apply general controls. After that only, company should focus on application controls. Clear? Then mobile phone concept if you don't put password for your mobile phone like pattern or numbers or fingerprint, what will happen? Anyone can access your mobile phone. That's the concept. Clear? So general controls are most important thing. So if disaster recovery plan or backup procedures are not available, means what will happen? What will happen? If sometimes in certain situation, company may face data loss. Data loss threat they may face. If their current data is looked by the company, what will happen? If they have backup recovery, backup recovery action, they can take it from that backup from their server. Okay, nowadays through server also they can backup, they can do, or cloud version also now available. AWS likewise uh, backup tools are there. Backup tools are there. So through that also they can do the backup. So they do the backup procedure. So if they don't have backup procedure, what will happen? If they lose their controls, sorry, if they lose their data, then what will happen? They can't recover the data back. If backup control is not there, I mean, if they lost their data, if company lost their data, then what will happen? They can't recover. Backup procedure is available means they can recover easily. So these are the controls. So as application controls may be useless when general controls are ineffective. It will be more efficient to review the design of IT general controls first before reviewing the application controls. This point is very, very important when it comes to organization point of view. Okay. Then what is mean by application controls? Application controls means specifically IT application controls means if company implement if company has implemented specific controls for its specific business processes, those controls called application controls. I will take example. If you take a bank, let's take a bank, commercial bank or it shouldn't be like, let's take a commercial bank. If you don't understand, just let me know. I will explain further. If you take a bank, that bank has lot of processes. Let's take few processes. Bank has deposit process. Bank will collect deposit from you and bank will give loan to others, other people, whoever requires loan, they can approach to the bank. Bank will proceed. Uh, Bank has some process. They have to follow that process, and if they are satisfied, then they can provide the loan. Okay. So bank has loan process. Bank has deposit process. Bank has ATM process. Bank has online banking process. Likewise, bank has a lot of that commercial bank has lot of processes. Clear? So these antivirus software updation, firewall updation, and disaster recovery plan implementation, backup control implementation, and Windows updation, password updation. So these controls are applicable to all process of that particular bank. Okay, these controls will be applicable to all the process available in the bank. Loan process, deposit process, ATM process, online bank process, likewise payment process, likewise all the processes are covered um, when general controls are implemented. Okay, clear? I hope this is this has been understood by you. But let's say ATM process, let's take one process. Bank has lot of general controls. So out of lot of general controls are there. Those general controls are applicable to entire process of the organization. Loan, deposit, ATM process, online banking process, payment process. Likewise, whatever general controls I have explained short while ago, those controls are applicable to entire process. Now, from there, we will pick one process. That process is ATM process. You can link this application control to the ATM process. In order to get the money from your bank, you can use the debit card. So through ATM machines, you can collect your money by using debit card. In that process, you have to put your 4-digit secret number. You have to enter your 4-digit secret number. If you mistakenly enter some other number, then it won't process. Or if you mistakenly enter 5 numbers instead of 4 numbers, generally 4 numbers only they are giving, no? 5 numbers instead of 4 numbers, and it won't work. So why it's not working? If you mistakenly put your number, or instead of 4 numbers, if you put 5 numbers, then why it's not working? That's called control. Okay, right person should get his money. If I enter my secret number, I should get my money. If you enter, you should get money. So wrong person cannot get money. Incorrectly, money should not be given to the wrong person. So likewise, that's why secret numbers has been given. That's why secret numbers are given. Okay. So that's why secret numbers are given to the debit card holders. So this secret number and this controls called application controls. This secret number control is working only to the ATM process. It's not working to the loan process. It's not working to the online banking process. If you take online banking, if you want to make any payments through that debit card, you can make the payment. Okay. So you have numbers on the debit card. No, you have to enter the numbers and you have to make the payment. So here you can't use that ATM four-digit secret number to online payment. So you should have separate password and username for that online banking application. The same bank, but you have separate username and password for that online banking activity. So that separate username password is application control. You can use only for the mobile bank. You can't use for the ATM transaction. For ATM four-digit number, you can't use in online banking unless if you give same password. දැන් මේවත් තියෙනවානේ. සමහරකට ATM machine password එක මතක තියාගන්න bank online bank password එකකට දෙන්න පුළුවන් නේ. ඒකෙන් password strength එක තියෙනවා. In some cases I'm saying. එහෙම දුන්නොත් ඉතින් කරන්න පුළුවන්. But yes, those are exceptional cases. So I'm saying normally you can't use. Assume that if you put two different passwords for mobile banking and ATM, so then a secret number. That secret number can be used only for the ATM machine transaction. That online banking transactions, you should use your online banking password. So those password and those secret numbers are applicable only for those processes. So those processes called application process. Clear? So in the organization, certain processes are there. If you take a manufacturing company, certain application controls are there. Those application controls will be applicable only for the specific processes. Certain inventory controls are there. Those inventory IT controls only applicable to the inventory process. Sales related IT controls only for sales. Likewise, purchase, bank reconciliation. So if controls are only applicable to the specific application, those controls called application IT controls. Here I'm referring all IT controls. Okay. If any IT controls are applicable only to the specific process, those controls called IT application controls. Application controls in the IT systems, we will read the tube. Application controls in the IT systems controls that operate at business process level. They can be preventive or deductive in nature and are designed to ensure the integrity of accounting records. Okay, integrity of accounting records. These controls are mainly want to keep accounting records properly. Accounting records related controls. Examples of IT application control. So here I have given 4 types of application controls. So here you should write in your notebook